Hey, it's Tony talking Car Biz. In this first video in the series Phone Skills, we're going to cover the principles of answering a sales call. And so we'll begin with an inbound sales call, and we'll talk about what you should say, not word for word or verbatim, but why you should say what you should say and the principles you should follow. So let's talk first of all about the value of a call, and really the reason why you're taking a sales call. Now, dealerships spend literally hundreds of dollars for each phone call, each sales call that comes in. If you were to divide the entire marketing budget by the total number of sales calls for the sales department, you'd soon discover that dealers are spending $50, $60, sometimes upwards to $100 just to get the phone to ring, and therefore how the dealership handles those calls, how the salespeople, the operators, the BDC operators handle their calls are very important, and we can't take them lightly, because every time we quote unquote screw up and we lose the customer, we just flushed 50, maybe as much as $100 down the toilet. So a sales call is very valuable, and what we find is there's three things that contribute or cause a customer to call the dealership. First of all, it's the awareness of the dealership and the products. Then we've got, once we get their attention and they're aware of it, we need to determine what level of interest do the customers have in our product. And then thirdly, once they decide to contact us, or should they contact us, what should we do? How should we respond? What is our goal? So in this video, we're going to talk about contact on the phone. When a customer calls us, what are the principles for answering those questions? So first of all, let's start with just simply answering the phone, picking up the phone when the phone rings. Number one, we want to answer that phone call very quickly. It's important that we answer it within 15 seconds. And also number two, I think it's important that the person that answers the phone is the person that can answer the customer's questions and invite them into the dealership. I strongly believe that if you can route the call directly to the person that can help the customer is going to have a better experience, and therefore the dealership's going to have a higher likelihood of setting the appointment for the customer. If you're using an operator system where the customer is calling the dealership and they're asking for sales, and then the operator's punching in and sending it over to the sales department, and then it's randomly picked up by any person on the showroom, or perhaps maybe even the operator got fat fingers and directed it to the parts department, that's not a great experience for the customer. So I strongly believe that if you have a BDC, a sales BDC, every sales call should go directly to the BDC sales operators, regardless of the source of the sales call. So if it's an auto trader call, it goes to the BDC operator. If it's a dealer's website call, it goes to the BDC operator directly. Now, the BDC operator has a couple things that they need to do in order to get off on the right path or the right step with the customer. First of all, how you say hello to the customer makes a big difference. If you're answering the phone, "Sales, this is John," not a great greeting, right? I believe that if you can change their opinion, you can change their mind. And how do you change their opinion? Number one, you start by how you answer the phone. Make sure you're upbeat and positive. Take a deep breath and smile before you pick up the phone, and have a positive greeting. Something that I like is, "It's a great day at ABC Motors. This is Tony. I can help," right? Also, be prepared, right? Know your tools, know your word tracks, and be in a position where you can spend the time with the customer. You know, back in the 80s and 90s when I got in the business, it was, "I'm in the parts department, why don't you give me your name and number and I'll call you back," and I wasn't prepared. Or I ran across the showroom floor and I grabbed the sales call all out of breath, or God forbid I was way out on the lot and I heard the phone ring and I had to run all the way in. So I believe the BDC environment is perfect because the people are sitting at their workstation, they have their tools, they have their computers, they have their resources, they have their websites, and they're prepared to help the customer. And then the third thing that is very simple is Just answer the customer's questions. Don't beat around the bush. So let's dive into the 3 principles of answering questions. It's really just 3 simple ideas. And the tip here is much of what I've learned, I learned it from observing the professionals, watching public speakers and watching politicians and how they answer questions when people pose them a question. If you watch politicians right now, if a reporter or somebody in the audience asks the question, a politician always does one thing right away. They always affirm the question. They esteem the question answerer or the reporter. Boy, that's a great question. I'm glad you asked. So that's one way that they do that, but start paying attention. Right now is a really good time because of the elections to be able to watch politicians answer questions, all right, and also other public speakers. So let's begin with the 3 principles. Principle number 1 is quickly, okay? Quickly. What do I mean by quickly? I mean right now, on the spot, on the phone, okay? No callbacks. You're not going to say, I don't know, let me check on it and I'll call you back. You've got to be prepared to answer the question on the first call, all right? And you can do that by setting the appointment. You're going to set the appointment on more first calls than you will ever on a second call or a callback, right? Why would you postpone setting the appointment for a callback while you've already got them on the phone? So it's super important to answer the question quickly because we want to set that appointment on the first contact. And then some of the tips to this is you've got to know the answers to the big 5 questions, which I'm going to cover in subsequent videos, but there's 5 big categories of questions which all customers ask when calling a dealership. The first one is they'll ask about availability, is it there? Then they'll ask about price, is that the best price? Then they'll ask about equipment, is that the right how's it equipped? Then they'll ask about specials, and then sometimes they'll ask about payments. And you need to be able to answer those questions on the first call about any piece of inventory that's on your dealer lot. And you'll be able to do that if you're in a BDC environment and you know your resources, you know your websites, and you can answer those questions quickly. Now, the other thing is you just need to be prepared, right? You just need to be prepared to answer the question quickly. Don't be answering the phone thinking I'm going to get a name and number and call them back. Name and numbers do not guarantee appointments, right? But appointments guarantee name and numbers. I'll get a name and number from every customer I set an appointment with, but I won't get an appointment with every person that I got their name or their phone number. So the focus is about getting the appointment and doing it by answering the customer's questions quickly right now. Principle number 2, be prepared to answer the question confidently. Let your yes be a yes, okay? Don't talk to yourself while you're on the phone with the customer. I hear operators do this all the time. The customer asks a question and the operator's talking their way through to the answer. That doesn't instill confidence in the caller. The caller is sitting there listening to you and they don't know whether you're talking to yourself or to them, but at the end of the day, people who talk to themselves are not viewed confidently, all right? Also, kill the ums and the ahs and the I don't knows. If a customer asks you a question, get to the point, okay? Don't say I don't know. There are 5 categories of questions and they're identical questions, so we're going to go over that, so you should know the answer to all those questions on the first call. So number 1, answer the question quickly. Number 2, answer it confidently. Let your yes be a yes. And you do that by knowing what those questions are, being prepared to answer those questions, and really being fluent at your tools and resources, your websites, where you can find out the answers without calling the customer back. Principle number 3, and this is a tough one, but principle number 3 is answer the customer's question to their satisfaction, not your satisfaction, right? When you answer a question, if they say, for example, does it have leather interior? Answer the question, yes it does. Is that okay? All right? Now remember, you're not selling leather seats. You're not even selling cars at this point. You're selling appointments. You're providing the customer with information that's important to them, not you, but to them. And the information, once you get that yes, when they say yes, know that they're satisfied, right? You don't need to go into all the great things about leather seats. Don't oversell the leather seats. Does it have leather seats? Yes, it does. Is that okay? Yes, great. Close. Okay? So remember, they're the buyers, not you. You're not buying a car. You might want to know if they're perforated leather seats. They may not even care whether it has perforated leather seats. So don't, if they ask you if it has a leather seat, say yes it is that okay? Don't say yes it does and they're perforated and they're heated and they're this and they're that and all these other things. Maybe they don't want perforated leather seats, but maybe they want leather seats. So because it's important to you doesn't mean it's important to them. Just answer their question, get a yes, and close. So the 3 principles in a row are, number 1, answer the question quickly. Answer it now. Number 2, answer the customer's question confidently, yes or no, and close. Don't second guess yourself. Number 3, answer the question to the caller's satisfaction. Remember, you're not the customer, they are. Keep it simple. If it's important to them, they'll ask. Okay? Finally, remember, you're selling appointments and setting appointments. You're not selling cars. Your goal is to bring the customer in. And the tip here, if you can't get the customer to meet with you, you don't need to worry about selling them a car. So focus all your attention on the inbound sales calls of those 3 things. Answer the customer's questions quickly, confidently, and to their satisfaction, and close. And you'll set more appointments, and you'll sell more cars. This is Tony talking Car Biz. Thanks for watching.